Hello students. So welcome back. Today we are going to start a new chapter, fourth one, that is current, electricity and magnetism. Okay. From the name itself we can understand we are going to study something about electricity and current flowing through wires and how all these things are happening. So first of all, we shall discuss what you have learned in the earlier classes. So, what are all the constituents of an atom? In earlier class, we have studied the structure of an atom and what all are present inside an atom. An atom has some number of positively charged protons and negatively charged electrons. They are both same in number. That makes the atom electrically neutral. So all of us know that an atom is a structure where there is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus there is a proton which is positively charged, and in outside orbits electrons are moving which are negatively charged. Such electrons are revolving in the orbits, just like our solar system, where the nucleus is the sun and all the planets are revolving around the sun in their specific orbits. So the atom structure is also very much similar to our solar system, isn't it? So an object doesn't show any charge though its atoms contain charged particles. Now this table, this book, it's not showing any charge. Even if we touch, we don't get a shock. Why? Because these atoms with which they are made up of, they are electrically neutral. The proton number, that is positively charged protons, particles of an atom, and electrons which are negatively charged, they are equal in number. So they neutralize each other. Okay. Therefore, we can say that plenty of electrical charge is filled in the object around us. Then what will happen if a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth? We can feel that some static electricity is being developed, isn't it? Then how do objects get charged? Or what are static and moving charges? Moving charges get transferred from one object to another. Okay, these are negatively charged electrons that are transferred from one object to another object. Now, moving negatively charged particles are the electrons, and the positively charged particles which are inside the nucleus of an atom are the protons, isn't it? Then can electricity be made to flow through water flowing from a height or a higher level to a lower level? Or you can learn that a force will have to be applied to put a stationary object into motion, that we have studied in the earlier class just now. Now we get electric current when the electrons in an electrical conductor are made to flow from one atom to another. So atomic structure you can understand: positive charge at the center and negatively charged electrons which are revolving around. These are the electrons. Here inside the nucleus there is positively charged protons that make it neutral by their charges. But what is getting transferred? Suppose now we are rubbing two things with each other. Okay. Now silk cloth with a ebonite rod or glass rod. What is happening? These electrons negatively charged are getting transferred from one object to another. So what are all these things happening? That is current electricity. So let us first of all try to understand what is current electricity. A large current flow when some lightning, before the rain you must have seen the lightning in the sky, take place from a cloud to the ground. You can feel it falling on the ground many times. While sensation is felt by us due to a microscopically small current flowing to the brain. We are getting feeling the sensation. Our brain is getting the information through this flow of small current that is moving. So these are the two examples that current electricity is flowing. You are aware of the current flowing through wires. If some live wire is there, you know that we should not touch it, otherwise we'll get a shock. Electric bulbs also, they become hot, isn't it, after some time. And equipments in the house where the electric current is coming, when we plug into, switch on the button and use them, like your mixer, grinder, etc., isn't it? Now, in the electric cells of a radio or in a car battery, a current is produced by flow of both negatively as well as positively charged particles. So first of all, we have seen that rods, a bonite rod or glass rod, when rubbed with woolen cloth or silk cloth, current was flowing. That is, electrons, negative charge was moving on from one object to another. But in a radio or a car battery, a current is produced by the flow of both negatively as well as positively charged particles. Okay, there it is current electricity transfer. Next topic that we are going to study is electrostatic potential. What is electrostatic potential? Okay. So everybody has seen water or any liquid flows from a higher level to a lower level. Always it is like that. That's why the water tanks are put up on the terrace of everybody's home, so that the water will come down to your taps, isn't it? Heat always flow from a body at higher temperature to a body of lower temperature. Suppose a spoon that is kept in your utensil where you are cooking something on the gas. First, the base of the spoon is getting hot and slowly transfer of heat is taking place towards the handle. Similarly, there is a tendency of positive charge to flow from a point of higher electric level to a point of lower electric level. Similar thing happening in case of electricity also. Now this electric level deciding the direction of flow of electric charges is called electrostatic potential. So what is electrostatic potential? The electric level deciding the direction, in which direction it should flow, okay, of electric charges should go, is called as electrostatic potential. That is your second topic. Third one is potential difference. Now what is potential difference? So similar to the height of any waterfall, from above the water is falling down, isn't it? Or the temperature difference of hot and cold things. Something is very hot and slowly becoming cool. The difference between the potential of the 2 points, hot and cold, in between all the points, okay, in the process of cooling, that is the potential difference, okay. Or water falling from some height, from the height to the lower level, from where it is falling and where it has fallen, in between all the points are considered to be the potential difference. Now we can take an example, like take a connecting copper wire and connect the circuit like this. You can make up a circuit of your own at home also, and no current is seen to flow to the bulb. Can you see any current flowing in this circuit? Obviously not. Okay. Now, what we have to do is connect in the same circuit some 1.5 volt dry cell in between. If we connect here 1.5 volt dry cell, in that case, what will happen? We can get it in the market, okay? Now, it will be realized from glowing of the bulb that a current is flowing in the circuit. When we added this dry cell or battery, what you call in common language, in that case, the bulb will glow. Otherwise, it was not glowing. Okay? When the battery is added, it started glowing. Here, what is happening? Electrons in the wire, electrons in this circuit wire, okay, flow due to the potential difference between the two ends of the dry cell. Now, this longer arm expresses the positive end and shorter arm expresses the negative end of the battery. So you can see that current started flowing from the positive terminal towards the negative terminal. Now we can show the arrow, and flow of electric current have been started because of adding of this dry cell. Okay. And here the potential difference between the two ends of the dry cell are working. That makes your bulb to glow. These flow from the negative terminal to the cell of the cell to the positive terminal of the cell. Conventional current flow is in opposite direction. Okay, last year we have studied that. Now, and this is shown with the help of an arrow. Okay. Now, there is no current as there is no potential difference in the absence of any cell. If no potential difference, there will be no current transfer. Current starts flowing in the circuit as soon as the potential difference is applied. Something to activate the flow of this current. Okay. And the unit of potential difference in SI unit system is volt. That's why we have taken the dry cell of 1.5 volts. So it is measured in volts. Okay. Next thing that we are going to see is how can we measure water flow emerging from a pipe? Can we measure it? The potential difference coming from one point to another. We can find it from the amount of water. Frankly speaking, whatever water we got coming out of it at a specific time period. It could be 1 second, it could be 5 seconds, it could be in 1 minute how much water came out of the pipe. Then is the electric current also measured that way? How much electric current we have got? Actually, we have seen that electric current is produced due to the flow of charged particles. Okay, charged electrical particles, electrons and protons. Electrical charge flowing through a wire in 1 second can be called unit current. In 1 second, how many electrical charge, how much of electrical charge is transferring from one electron to another and moving from one unit to another? That is the unit current that we can calculate. And the SI unit of electric current is coulomb. SI unit of electric current it is coulomb. Okay, so these volts and coulombs, we have to remember always what is volt. Unit of volt is an unit of potential difference, and coulomb is the unit of electric current that we are getting. And per second, how much coulomb we are getting can also be called as an ampere. Ampere is also another unit that can be used instead of coulomb per second. Okay. Fine. So 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb divided by 1 second. Okay. Electric current is actually a scalar quantity. In last chapter, we have seen what is a scalar quantity and what is a vector quantity. So I hope you know why electric current is called as a scalar quantity. Because here direction is not involved in its calculation. Okay. To find out electric current, direction is not playing any role like the vector quantities. Now, what is an electric cell? A source is required to produce a uniform flow of charges in any circuit. You have to keep the button on constantly to put on the fan or the bulb that is going on in your room, isn't it? If you switch off the button and break the flow of charge, in that case, it will be switched off. Such a general device is an electric cell. Now, various types of electric cells are nowadays available in the market. These are used in a range of machines like your wristwatches, even in bigger machines like our submarines. And out of these, we should be nowadays very much aware of solar cells also. They get charged with the help of solar energy from the sun. The main function of various electric cells is to maintain a constant potential difference between its two terminals. Okay, potential difference should be constantly working, otherwise there will be break in the circuit and anything that you are trying to run on it will not constantly work. It will have a break. Fluctuations will be seen over there. Now, much in details about these topics we are going to study in the higher classes. Next very important topic that we are going to study is a dry cell. Dry cell, how it works, what all are the chemicals inserted in it, and what is its diagram along with labeling complete structure we are going to study in our next classes, coming up classes related to this chapter. Okay, so today's topic is over. I want you all to observe this carefully and write short notes on our current electricity, electrostatic potential, and what is potential difference. Okay, thank you all of you. Bye.